Hey y'all. So, as you already know, we have a super powerful full moon that is coming upon us on August the 19th, 2024, in the sign of Aquarius. And at this particular time, along with the full moon, the energy in the skies are bringing forth chaos, tension, struggle, just thickness, and not necessarily bad, change and transformation and sudden shocking events, all of those things. But we're going to talk about why this full moon and all of those energies at this particular moment in time is doing what they're doing. We're going to talk about those details, tease it out, and describe how it's going to be affecting each and every one of you based on your sun, moon, or rising signs. But first, before we even get into that, let's talk about what a full moon actually is. So a full moon is an opposition between the moon and the sun. And sometimes we can categorize oppositions as challenging energy. It really just depends on what sign the sun and the moon are in, and do those signs or their ruling planets, do they play nicely? Right? So you have the sun and the moon sitting across from each other, giving us our full moon. And in full moon energies bring forth with it a burst of energy. A surge of energy that energizes us to move and to do things, to make action, where we didn't before. So if you had a desire to change something, if you had an idea, if you wanted to do something, and you have a full moon hitting it with its burst of energy, you're going to move on that thing. But full moon's energy is so unrefined, is so unprocessed. It's kind of chaotic in itself, because it's just new and it's just a burst of thing. Although it has an energy of bringing things to fruition. It has an energy of bringing things to light, but it's still untamed because we haven't had a chance to sit with that energy and direct it in the way that we want it to do, and to bring about what we want it to bring about, because it hits us so suddenly. Now, what's special about this full moon and all of its glory, bringing its energy with it, it's going to be very close to us. And so this is why it's a super moon. A super full moon happens when the moon is close to us. So we feel its energy a bit more potently, right? Because it's closer to us. So we have that going on. Not only do we have that going on, we have some other challenging conversations in the skies, or challenging conversations between the planets that are happening in the skies. And I call it conversations because it's easier to kind of convey exactly what's happening. And so if you think about it, think about yourself when you're having a conversation with your best friend, or you're having a conversation with somebody that you get along with. The energy is easy. You're passing ideas, you're laughing, you're keying, and everything is all good because the energy between you and that person, or between you and those people, if it's a group of friends, it's all good. But imagine the person that you don't get along with at work because they always got a snide remark. They always are too critical. They always are very nosy. They always are, you name it. They're doing something that just rubs you the wrong way, or you're doing something that rubs them the wrong way, and the energy between you is just not good. Or every time you get in a room with somebody, you have it's argument, it's frustration, it's, you know what I mean? It's just not easy. And so I like for you to think about it that way, because this is actually what's happening in the sky. It's not the easy conversations that's happening. It's the ones that are hard. It's the one that brings intensity. It's the ones that bring the challenges and the struggles and the conflict. That is what's actually happening. And that is, those conversations are being energized by the energy that the moon is bringing. So what are those aspects or those conversations like that are happening in the sky? Number one, we have oppositions. Number two, we have squares. So oppositions aren't necessarily bad, but they do bring intensity, and it depends on how those planets actually gel or not with each other. So an opposition is the planets standing directly across from one another, right? So like the sun and the moon is directly across from each other. The moon is going to be in Aquarius and the sun is going to be in Leo. That's 180-degree opposition. So we have other oppositions that's coming along. And so oppositions, all of these conversations in the sky, they beg certain questions. And so oppositions, you want to know, the first thing you want to ask yourself when you figure out, is this going to be an opposition, is, okay, what is the level of intensity going to be? Is this aspect bringing balance? Is it bringing challenge? Do these planets get along? Is it a you scratch my back, I scratch your back thing? You do for me, I do, like, you know what I mean? Like, we get along? Or is it going to be a fight? Do they just not mix like oil and water? That's what you need to find out what's going on. And this is what we're going to talk about. The other type of conversation that's going on is the square. And the square is a 90-degree aspect. It's a hard angle. This is a full-on battle, okay? A full-on battle is bringing tension, it's bringing struggle, it's bringing conflict. And the questions that you should be asking when we're having squares is, what is the solution going to be? Because you have to figure out the solution. Like, what is coming up that's causing this challenge that I have to solve? Right? Also, what squares do is they force you to ask the question, where do I find my strength in this? Right? I know there are certain challenges that I have gone through, and I didn't even know that I had the strength that I had until that challenge, that conflict, that struggle brought it out of me. And so that is what the square is going to do. So it ain't necessarily bad, in my opinion. I'm not going to say I like, because it's not always comfortable, but the squares with the challenging energy that it brings, it always brings the aftermath, is the staying power of what that challenge is unearthing, right? And so when you're having a square, you want to ask yourself, who am I now? Who do I want to be, or who will I be when this challenge is over? Right? And that's all about how you're going to solve that conflict, right? So what is the challenge trying to teach you is what you need to be asking, right? How can I dig deep and find my strength? Okay. And so, yes, people are talking about, oh, you need to go hide under a rock. You need to be scared, and you need to do. No, you don't need to do that. You need to be brave, right? And so people, yes, they're going to be not acting like themselves. You might not be acting like yourself, but if you're informed, you need to check that. Like, you're here and you're having this conversation with me right now. If you feel yourself being irrational, you need to check that shit. You need to calm it down, right? So what I'm saying is, understand that the energy is going to bring about irrational behavior in people. It's going to bring shocking things out. Things are going to shock you. Right? The energy might want to take something away from you, but no, if it takes something away from you, that thing that is taken away from you, it don't serve you, and it's going to replace it with something that will, either immediately or eventually. Okay. But it's your job to figure out what the energy is trying to move you toward. How are you going to do that? By asking yourself those questions that we just asked a few moments ago, right? And so to become a better you got to figure out what these challenges are actually trying to bring you, right? It's the challenges, it's the struggles that teach you your strength. It shows you the depths of who you are. It rips layers into you. And no, it might not always be comfortable, comfortable, but you know what? You do become better. And right, without having those, you will never know who you can be. You never know what you can accomplish. So welcome the challenges. Welcome this energy. Know what's going on so that you can use it to get to where you have to go. And understand that whatever experience it brings you, your whole being is going to know why you will or you won't do something, why you will be with somebody, why you won't, why you will do that job, why you won't, why you will put that business in play, why you won't, why you will have that relationship, while you won't. And guess what? Every single last fiber of you, because of the experience that the challenge is bringing you, is going to know why you will or you won't. And I always tell my son, when you have an experience that moves you in such a way, your toenails, why you know why you going to do something and why you won't. So welcome this. Don't hide. Be brave. Right? There will be heightened emotions, but keep your composure. And you know what? The composed is always in control. The composed always win. Just be prepared. And this is why you're here, because I'm preparing you, right? So if it's raining, you want to have your raincoat, your rain boots, and your umbrella. If you're going to be stepping into battle, you want to have your spear. You want to have your sword. You want to have your shield. And you want to have your plan. You want to have a strategy, right? Because you can't win without a strategy. All right. So what are some of those challenging aspects that are happening? We're going to be having on August the 18th. So I'm going a couple days. The new moon is actually going to be on the 19th. So we got to get into what the energy is doing on the days leading up to the full moon, because like I said, the energy from the full moon is energizing all of this stuff. And you can feel the energy from this particular full moon at least a week or two before and a week or two after. So on August the 18th, Mercury is moving into Leo, and it's going to square Uranus in Taurus. And Uranus is all about, it can be all about chaos. It jostles you. It's all about shocking. It's about rebellion. It's about all of those things that's unconventional. It's about the freedom. It's about the split. It's about breaking things apart. Okay. And Mercury is squaring that. So Mercury right now is actually in retrograde. So Mercury in retrograde is like, this is another thing. Like, this is another layer of the conversations that's happening in the sky. Like, with Mercury being retrograde, it's an element of things from the past coming forward, right? And you're going to probably learn something with regards to where it touches in your house that you didn't know before. You're going to have a piece of information that you didn't know. It might be shocking in a good way or a bad way, for better or worse. You're going to find out. Okay. Then, the same day that it actually squares Uranus, Mercury is going to join the sun. And sometimes we say that when a planet joins the sun, its power can be turned down because it's being burned by the sun. We call that being combust. But in this case, it's far enough away from the sun where it's going to be getting good shimmers from the sun. It's going to be getting highlights. We call this a cazimi. This is auspicious. This is luck and opportunity. And so that information that you actually might get might be the information that you need to make the move that you need to make, the one piece that was missing from the puzzle, the one thing that was hidden from you. So you might learn something that's like, yeah, okay, I got this. All right. So you can make a move to becoming a better you, right? By having that information. Now, on the 19th, the next day, we have Venus in Virgo, and it's squaring Jupiter. Now, that may not be so bad because Venus and Jupiter are what we call benefics. They give gifts. They bring us good things, right? And so Venus rules our money. Venus rules our love. Jupiter just gives blessing on blessing, and it expands everything that it touches. But in this square between the two, it might be like, okay, it's showing you where you overdid something, because Jupiter expands something. So in love, Where are you allowing things to fly that probably shouldn't fly? Where are you sweeping things under a rug? Like, how long have you actually done that? Or how long has your partner allowed you to get away with some stuff? Right now, you just might not be able to get away with it. Okay. Where have you overspent? If we're talking about money, right? Where have you overdone your beauty treatments? Like, you need to slow down on the Botox. Quit with them lip injections right now. I'm joking, but I'm saying, like, Venus rules beauty. And so Jupiter squaring Venus is showing you, like, you OD'd, you overdid it. Chill out. Okay. And in the same day, Venus is going to oppose Saturn. And so that's not necessarily good, because Saturn is we call Saturn the taskmaster, but I like Saturn is like that teacher that has the ruler that sticks their finger out. No, you need to get back in line. You can't do this. Saturn is the parent that enforces the rules. And so if you got out of hand with your Venus, with Jupiter squaring it, then Saturn is going to come into play and have you put boundaries back in place, like fix things. Like now you're going to have to pay the piper with regards to wherever you OD'd, you overdid some things. And it's a fast moving aspect, so it's not going to stick around for too long. But if you fucked up, then Saturn is going to get you back in line, and you're going to fix whatever you messed up with regards to that Venus Jupiter conversation. Okay. And so that's what I wanted to say about that. Now, child, the biggie, we're going to have, like, we have a T square. We have a T square. So I want you to think, we talked about the opposition between the sun and the moon. The sun is in Leo, the moon is in Aquarius. And then, like, imagine if you drew a line from the middle of them, and out at the end of that midline of that line that you drew from the middle of each, like, you have Uranus, and Uranus is what we call T squaring, like you draw in a T, right? So Uranus is what we're saying is T squaring the moon. It's T squaring the sun. Ooh, child. Now, we talked about Uranus being what it embodies. Like, it represents, Uranus wants to give you freedom, for better or worse. It wants to free you from, if it's not serving you, Uranus is going real quick. Uranus represents lightning, shocking, action, disruption, sudden, wake up, shake up. It's the wake up, shake up. Okay. And so with Uranus squaring, it's trying to bring you something, or break you away from something, so it can bring you to something. Shockingly, surprisingly, abruptly, and quick. Okay? Abrupt is the same thing as quick, but you get what I'm saying. And it brings chaos with it. You know what I mean? Or it can bring chaos. I mean, it might bring you something that have to make you move quick, but it's something that you actually wanted, right? So before this actually happens, let me back up a little bit. So you have Uranus is in Taurus. The moon and sun are in Aquarius and Leo. We talked about that, right? Lord. We have another big aspect or conversation that's happening. And this conversation this is usually not a good conversation. And this conversation is the square between Jupiter and Saturn. Jupiter and Saturn, they just flat out don't like each other. I mean, not for real. Because maybe they like each other. Maybe they do, but this ain't real. This is not a good conversation. And so Jupiter is in Gemini. And Jupiter is in an air sign. And in Gemini, it tends to be all over the freaking place. Yes, Jupiter expands everything that it touches. It want to give gifts. It wants to do all of those things. But Gemini is an air sign. And so it's all over the goddamn place. It's everywhere. There's no structure to it. It's like, and it can be blown out of proportion. Okay. So then you have Jupiter squaring Saturn. And Saturn is like, oh, hell to the no. Like, that Jupiter kite is not going to fly. Okay? No. We need order. We need order in the court. We need boundaries. Are we following the rules? Like, you giving all of these gifts, you allowing all of this kite to fly. Like, what is this affecting? Right? Is this causing chaos? Have you even checked to see how given this thing is going to affect everything else? No, you haven't. And so we're going to put structure to this. That's what Saturn is doing. But before this square even happens, and it's happening on the same day as the full moon, Lord have mercy, it's being energized by the full moon. So it's even bigger than what it would ordinarily be without this energy giving it that boost. Let's back up a couple days, though. Now, on August the 14th, we had Mars going into Gemini. Now, Mars is like, Mars sets it off. Wherever Mars goes, like it's going into Gemini and it's conjuncting Jupiter. Mars is triggering Jupiter. So Jupiter is already expanding. It's already doing what it's doing. Imagine it being triggered by Mars. It's really going crazy. Mars is energizing Jupiter to go ham. Okay? To go ham. It's like, yes, do you. And it's like, you get a car, you get a car, you get a car. It's giving. We can't have all these cars on the road because they're going to crash. No, I'm just kidding. But Mars is energizing Jupiter. And then Mars and Saturn don't get along. So just think Mars is like the go, go, go. I don't think, I'm just going to go. I'm going to get shit done. I don't care what havoc I wreak in the process of getting done what I need to get done and getting what I want. And Saturn is and it's young energies. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm ready to go. And Saturn is the old, like, gray beard. No. You cannot. You need to calm down. And so on the 16th, Mars squares Saturn, agitating Saturn. Like, nah. Look what I did. I set Jupiter off, and this is going to piss you off. So that's adding fuel to the fire. Okay. But again, Saturn is like, never mind who you thought I was. I'm Saturn, bitch. You are not getting away with this. You're not. Okay? You're not. So it's a lot of stuff going on. And that is what makes this energy so crazy. It is like, we don't know really like what is going to happen. But again, like, we got to be prepared. And at the end of the day, this energy is going to bring us to our better selves, and what it is it's going to make us that much closer, because we are supposed to evolve. We are supposed to grow, and at the end of the day, this energy is helping us to do that. How are you going to use it? How is it affecting you in your chart? Well, we about to get into that right now. What is going on, my lovely Scorpios? So we have the full moon coming upon us on August 19th, 2024, and it's going to be crazy thick, potent energy, as this is what we call a supermoon. And I want to emphasize, if I didn't emphasize before, that the energy from this full moon is going to be energizing every other conversation that our heavenly bodies are having in the stars. And it's going to affect you. It's going to affect each and every last one of us so strongly in the areas of our chart that this energy is touching. So what does the energy have for you, Scorpio? Well, first, let's talk about Mercury retrograde. Mercury has been retrograde in Leo since August the 4th. And right now, Mercury, or actually on the 18th, Mercury squared Uranus in Taurus. Where is this happening for you? For you, Mercury is in Leo in your 10th house, and it's squaring Uranus in your 7th house. And so what does that actually mean? First, let's talk about the planets. Mercury, that deals with our thought processes, our ideas, information that is conscious and subconscious, so known to us and not known. It rules groups, it rules business transactions, it rules how we convey our thoughts, how we express our thoughts, how we exchange ideas. That is in the sign of Leo. And then we have Uranus. Uranus is associated with shocking events, sudden events, disruptions. It deals with breaking apart, splitting apart. Uranus wants to give us freedom. For heaven's sakes, Uranus is associated with earthquakes and lightning, and in some cases, rebellion on a collective level, surprises of any kind. That is happening from your 7th house. So, oh my goodness, people are spreading stories of doom and gloom, telling you to go run under a rock, that you should hide and be scared. I honestly don't feel like you should be scared during this time, because when you have the information that you need, you can be prepared, and you're better abled and equipped to navigate this energy. And with the square coming from your 7th house in Taurus, Uranus, I do not believe, is going to be as powerful as it typically would be if it was in a sign that it actually likes. It doesn't like to be in Taurus. In the astrology world, we say that Uranus is not at its fullest potential. It's not giving us its full strength because it's actually in the fall. And so you're not going to be getting all the smoke that you normally would be getting from Uranus. So yeah, you might have some shocking surprises, some revelations, some things that jolt you, but I don't think it's going to be as bad as it could be, sending those beams over to your 10th house. And another reason why I don't feel like it's going to be that bad is because Mercury is actually in Leo. And so with the retrograde, we have a bit of the element of the past that we have to go over, things that we have to fix, things that we have to edit, things that we have to redo. We have to look for information, because it's dealing with Mercury, that we might not have had with regards to 10th house things. What is 10th house? The 10th house deals with your career, your profession, your contribution to society, your public life, your social standing, and things like that. So you're going to be getting a jolt to that house from Uranus, your house of partnership, companionship, your alter ego, your hidden or your shadow self, your house of contracts, counselors and lawyers and things like that. So with Mercury being in Leo and you having to re-edit or go over some misinformation that you didn't have, and Mercury is going to be joining the sun, or has joined the sun. And normally when Mercury joins the sun, or any planet for that matter joins the sun, we say that is the sun will burn the power, or that planet is combust, because the sun has scorched their power and it wouldn't be in its normal strength. But Mercury is going to be in fantastic shape, because it's going to be far enough away from the sun to where it gets the sun's glory, the sun's rays. And so it's going to get empowered by the sun. And we call this actually a cazimi. A cazimi is auspicious, a blessed energy that happens when a planet joins the sun and it's not burned by the sun. So you get the full effect, the full strength, the full goodness, all the glory that that planet has to give. And so Mercury is going to be giving you all the goodness it has to give. So you're going to be getting information that you did not have, so you can make a decision that you need to make to move forward in your public standing, in your profession, in your social standing, in that house. Information that you did not have before, and it's going to be a eureka moment. It's going to come suddenly because it's coming with the energy of Uranus. Okay, it's going to be all good. And another thing that we should remember is that the sun is actually in Leo. Well, when the sun is in Leo, the sun is at home, so it has full strength. So the sun is giving you all of its goodness. And when the sun gives you all of its goodness, we are way more confident. We are way more refined. We are strong. We are radiant. We are happy. We are joyful. We are in our full strength. And so with the sun in Leo giving you that energy, it's all good. I don't think that it's going to be bad. But of course, I don't have your charts in front of me, so I can't tell you what's going on with you particularly. If you have any angles in there that's causing you to get bad energy, I can't see that. But generally speaking, I don't think it's going to be that bad. So moving on, actually the day of the full moon, which is August 19th, we're going to have a few conversations happening in the sky. And like I said, remember, it's going to be getting super charged by the energy of the full moon. The full moon energy is lighting all of this energy up. So we have Venus on the 19th in Virgo. And it's squaring Jupiter. So Venus is going to be in your 11th house. Jupiter is going to be in your 8th house. Your 11th house is your house of groups, your house of friendships, organizations. It deals with your hopes, your wishes, your aspirations, your personal goals, your sense of your true inner purpose. And also as it relates to humanity, that's your 11th house. Your 8th house is your house of transformation. It's your house of sexual activity, sexual desires. Get that. It's your house of death and rebirth. It's your house of personal growth, regeneration. It's also the house that deals with your partner's resources, addictions, psychology, other people's money, taxes, divorces, insurances, alimony, all that kind of stuff. You have Jupiter there. And so this is probably going to be a tougher energy because they're squaring. But again, with this, I don't feel like you're going to feel the full effects that that can be felt. And the reason why I say that is because Venus is in Virgo. Venus doesn't like to be in Virgo. And Jupiter is in Gemini. Gemini does not, or Jupiter does not like to be in Gemini. Both of those planets are what we call in detriment. They're not given their full strength and the full potentials of what they can give when they're in these particular planets. So they're uncomfortable. They're not at home. So they can't give you their full strength. But nevertheless, Venus and Jupiter are benefic planets. So they do bestow blessings on us. So it's not going to be that harsh. It's going to be just super uncomfortable. And when you deal with these two energies clashing together in a square, the square gives tension, conflict, battle. This is more about where you are overdoing things. Venus deals with beauty. It deals with luxury, our comforts in life. It rules our money. Jupiter expands everything that it touches. But when Venus is in Virgo, it's choked in Virgo. So you're not getting all of the good aspects of Venus. So beauty in some cases with regards to the atmosphere you're in might be a little bit subdued. If you're dealing with your friends, groups, their words might come across a little more critical, a little more harsh. You might be not too confident in knowing that you are accomplishing your inner and your true purpose because you might be a bit self-critical. Venus in Virgo. Venus is very critical and it's choking in that way. And Jupiter is squaring it. And like we said, Jupiter expands everything that it touches. So it's expanding those negative qualities of Jupiter, but it's overdoing it. So people might be overly critical, and just don't listen to that. You might be overly critical of your friends and you need to check yourself. You might not be seeing your path forward correctly. Your vision somehow might be a little bit off. So just know that it's a struggle. And so, keep that in mind. Again, you're not getting the full force, but yes, it is going to be some difficulty with those two clashes, those two energies clashing together, but it passes very quickly. Venus is also going to oppose Saturn. And this, to me, typically it can be bad because Saturn, restricts. Like where Jupiter expands, Saturn restricts. Saturn knows time. It knows boundaries. It knows what's good for us and what is not. So while you might be getting things overdone with your Venus in Virgo, when Venus opposes Saturn, Saturn is going to show you where you actually been out of bounds with that Venus energy, and it's going to bring to light things or processes or items that you could put in place to kind of control that Venus. So it's gonna allow you to check it. I don't think it's gonna be so bad, and that's actually coming from your fifth house of creative expression, pleasure, entertainment, speculation, hobbies, and things like that. All right, and so now moving on to the big Kahuna, or one of the big Kahunas, and this is gonna be our full moon. We have our full moon happening on the 19th. What a full moon is, it is an opposition. And what an opposition is, it's when two planets stand across from each other 180 degrees in the sky, and they have a conversation. And the conversation that they have could either be a very friendly conversation, depending on how the energies mix, or it can be a nasty conversation, an argument. In this case, I don't think that it's going to be a nasty conversation. I don't think it's going to be an argument between the sun and the moon. And the reason why I don't think it's going to be a nasty conversation is because the sun is actually in Leo. It's at home. So it's super powered. It's supercharged. It's given us all of its glory. And like I said, we're warm. We're energetic. We're magnetic. We are confident. We are ready to take the lead. We're dignified when the sun is actually in Leo. So that energy is bursting through, and it's energizing the moon straight across at 180 degrees in Aquarius. And so what does the moon do for us, and what does that signify? Well, the moon holds our innermost, our private thoughts, our sacred dreams, our intuition, things that only we know and we cannot express. And so it also deals with our truest, deepest feelings of belonging and the ideals that we hold of ourselves and the world that we deem is perfect for us. This is happening in your across the sky in your fourth house. So it's across the sky from your 10th house, shooting energy into your fourth house, your areas of your personal, your deep emotion, your early home life, your mother, maternal caregiver, in your house of personal comfort. You have the sun shining light there, illuminating all of your deepest desires and highest ideals with regards to that house, giving it energy, giving you the life force to put things in place that is ideal and true for you. That is not a bad thing. That is actually great. Now, the energy is a little bit chaotic, and unrefined and untamed and unprocessed. It's pretty raw and potent when we have the full moon, because it's bursting forth, and it's bursting forth with extra energy because it's a super moon. It's closer to us. We feel it a lot deeper, and because it's a full moon, it's that strong anyway. But and it's coming through for the first time. So it might be a little chaotic in that sense, but it's all good because it's giving you what you want with regards to that fourth house. So what are you going to do? How are you going to use the energy to have that ideal home, right? How are you going to do that? Well, that's what the energy is here to teach you. And so let's move on just a little bit, because on the same day of our full moon, we are having really one of the biggest energies of, I don't want to say a generation, but of a long period of time. We have
Jupiter's in Gemini, and that is in your 8th house, and it is squaring Saturn in Pisces in your 5th house. This energy has actually been going on since 2020. And 2020, Saturn and Jupiter actually came together in what we call a conjunction. And what a conjunction is when two planets meet in the same sign. And what I want you to think about in a conjunction is when two planets come together, a seed is planted. So when you think about it like this, when the mother and father comes together, they make a baby, a seed is planted. So when Jupiter and Saturn came together, an idea, an experience, something was planted for you with regards to that 8th and that 5th house. We already talked about the 8th house being the house of transformation, the 8th house of other people's resources, of divorce, of alimony, of regeneration, death and rebirth, addictions, right? The 5th house is your house of creative expression, romance, lovers for the first time, not necessarily your partners, because partners are ruled by the 7th house, but it's the fun relationships, maybe girlfriend, boyfriend. Okay. The energies are coming from those two houses. But in any case, in 2020, what seed was planted? What seed did you plant with Jupiter and Saturn? Right? Like I said, when they come together, the seed is planted. It's put in the ground. And when we have energy like we're having right now, they're going to be squaring each other. That is the halfway point. And so what I mean by the halfway point is that is the energies checking with you to help you kind of take a look at what's working with regard to that seed that has been planted at the halfway point. It hasn't fully germinated yet, or maybe it has germinated. That's not the word that I'm saying, but it hasn't fully emerged anew as it's supposed to. It hasn't been, it hasn't borne any fruit. It hasn't it hasn't bore fruit just yet. It bears fruit when we have the opposition, like the full moon. So when these two signs oppose each other, then that idea, that seed will bear fruit. When you have a square is the halfway point, and it shows you what actually works. So what you can do with regards to that seed in the ground is what weeds are coming up, what's working, what is not working. What are you holding on to that you need to get rid of? What do you need to be given with regards to that idea or implement to make it work at its full potential? This is the energy that's being given, but it's not necessarily happening in a pleasant way. What or who do you need to get rid of so that you can make manifest that seed that was planted? Or was it a good seed? Do you need to scrap it altogether? Right? That's what the energies is showing you. And sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's not. But ultimately, what a square is doing is it's testing us, it's showing us our strength, and it's helping us to evolve. And I know that for me, when I have experiences that are not necessarily the easiest experiences, the experiences that bring struggle, that brings conflict, that brings battle, that is when I find my strength. That is when I know the depths of who I am. And that is the energy that I carry forward with me to live the life that I feel is ideal, that is right for me. And so with that regards, we need to be very grateful for this energy that is coming forth through the force of the full moon. It's actually here to help us. And so, like I said earlier, there are people who are out here saying that we need to be scared, we need to go under a rock, people are going to be chaotic. Yeah, all of that might be true, but at the end of the day, here's where you're going to find your strength. And if you are prepared, then you know how to navigate this energy, and you can best use it to get to where you need to be. And that is your highest ideal of you. So don't be scared. What I would say for you is to have courage and to be brave. And as long as you're prepared, you're better equipped to keep your composure. And I feel that the people who are composed and not erratic and not all over the place, those are the people who win, because you're the ones who control the energy. You control the thermostat. If you are prepared, then you're better equipped to fight. You have a strategy in place where you can take control of these energies and have it do what you need it to do. And so if it's raining in your world, you're prepared. Have your umbrella, your rain boots, and your rain jacket. If you are in battle, have your sword and your shield ready. Be ready to go. Be brave, guys. I hope that this actually helps you. Please let me know in the comments. Like and subscribe if you got some value out of this video. And until next time, guys, keep your hearts open and your spirits connected.